Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Day in the Life of Vintage Classic Specialist. So first off, in case anyone noticed, I have tweaked the name of these episodes a little bit. Did a decent amount of reading over the weekend about search engine optimization and some stuff like that on YouTube, and it seems like the title that I've been using, which is of course A Day in the Life of a Vintage Classic Specialist, it's not really very descriptive as far as what we do here. And I think that's kind of hurting us as far as people finding the channel and so on. And so I am tweaking at least the written title as it appears with the videos a little bit. So now I think it's going to be, we'll see when I actually publish this, but I'm kind of landing on VCS, like as in Vintage Classic Specialist, VCS Vintage VW Restoration Shop daily update. And I think hopefully that is going to help us get a few more hits. And then probably after that text, I will also put, like I've been doing, like a brief description of what we did on that day or whatever, just to try and continue having some keywords. But apparently the algorithm is very sensitive to the keywords kind of up front in the title, and towards the end it sort of ignores them. So I'm trying to get the Vintage VW Restoration Shop and those type of words earlier on in the title. And we'll see if it makes any difference. But, there's always room for learning and improving, so we'll see what happens. But rest assured the content is going to be the same. And so with that, why don't we go ahead and get started? So, by the way, happy Monday to everyone. So this thing, it just, every time I think this motor can't look more cool, it ends up looking more cool as it gets closer and closer to being done. And so today, Rafa, as I mentioned, went ahead and polished up the exhaust tip, and you can see he smoothed out the end here quite a bit. It was pretty rough as it came, which, again, no blame there on A1 exhaust, but there was room for improvement to sort of bring it up to our level, which is having it be very smooth and so on and so forth. So yeah, Rafa spent some time today grinding on this, and then they wet sanded it with, like 1,000 grit, and then took it on a polishing wheel and then touched up the paint and stuff like that. So yeah, it came out incredible, actually. Big improvement, and yeah, it just looks amazing. So that was a pretty big thing on this motor. The other is that I finally picked up the valve covers from polishing. You can see how they detailed out the fins and the speedwell and stuff like that, and kind of left the areas in between them as cast. So those finally went on. And then a big one is this crossbar right here, which links the left and the right choke mechanisms together, so that when the driver manually starts the thing and puts the choke on, that will push, that'll open up both chokes. And of course we had to put a jog in here to clear the belt and so on. So yeah, I had machined this part this weekend. If you saw the episode on Saturday, machined the ends down and put threads on them. And then Rafa took it today and added these bends to it based on the template, which he had made last week. So kind of a team effort on this one here, but there it is. Let's see. Yeah, I think that's it. The muffler, so the muffler is actually installed for real now. Before, I just kind of had it sitting on there because I was so anxious to see what it looked like. But yeah, after he polished the tip and stuff like that, this is on there for good now. So this is the real deal now. I think tomorrow he said he's going to maybe even put on the air cleaner. So tomorrow it'll probably look even more cool yet. So that happened. I think he also started putting a Safari window together, but I'm not sure where he got with that. But he wasn't really happy with how the seals were looking, so we may go back and redo that. Anyway, that for the most part was Rafa's day. So my day, I kind of jumped around a little bit. I started off with this guy, the 356 Speedster replica, and went to put on the new steering wheel, which I'll show you guys here in a sec. So new steering wheel showed up, and here it is. So it looks pretty cool. Kind of similar to what was on there, but not all grody looking. And But I had noticed on this car, it had a lot of excess play in the steering mechanism. So not quite as much as you see here, but close actually. And so I went ahead and tore the column apart, and sure enough, there is a bushing that, excuse me guys, that's supposed to go between the shaft and the bearing, and that bushing was just totally missing. And so that was the source of the free play. So I actually have the bushing now, but got kind of sidetracked with other projects. So tomorrow I'll probably go ahead and add that bushing in, put the bearing back in, and so on, and then reassemble this with the new steering wheel. And then the steering should be nice and tight and not, flopping around like it was. So big improvement there. And then I did order a new 009 style distributor for this with electronic points. So right now it's borrowing the one actually from that car just to see if that was the cause of the hard starting and rough running, which turned out to be true. So excuse me guys, this cough is killing me. So hopefully that'll show up like tomorrow, and I'll go ahead and swap that in. So that brings us to this one, and as you can see, super chromed out motor has started going back in, and our paint detailed and chromed motor, I should say. And so yeah, I went ahead and put the long block in, like as a bare long block, and then started pretty much building it up from there, kind of checking things one by one. And not surprisingly, with impy stuff, which can be a little hit and miss, there were some issues with the tin that I didn't notice when I mocked this thing up on the engine stand. I would say probably the major one is that the hole where the throttle cable, and you won't be able to see this, but there's a hole where the throttle cable goes through this front engine tin. It was just totally in the wrong place. It was off by a good ½ inch, maybe 5/8 of an inch or so, and it was like literally kind of behind the doghouse cooler. Like there would have been no way to get the throttle cable tube through there, because it was just a dead end. It would have gone all the way through the fan shroud, but then it would have just hit that front engine tin, because again, that hole was off to that side, to the left, by about that much too far, which is really kind of weird. I mean, come on, Impy. This is all stuff that they make, and it should all be compatible. Doghouse fan shroud, doghouse front engine tin. Those things should have holes that line up. So come on, guys. So I took care of that little issue once I found it. And then this hole here, I just opened up. This has nothing to do with Impy, but we're using like 1/4 inch fuel line on this car because it does have dual carb. So open this up and put a grommet in so I can run the fuel hose through there, and then I'll put a filter up underneath there. Before, I think the filter was in the engine compartment. So yeah, some little modifications like that. What else? I trimmed the front engine seal there to clear the doghouse snorkel that goes through that opening there, so the hot air coming off the oil cooler blows down by the transmission instead of hanging around the engine compartment. So yeah, that's about as far as I made it. Just lots of, again, even though I had all this stuff together on the bench or on the test stand, putting it together in the car, again, sometimes you run into things that you didn't really anticipate, like the throttle cable not lining up or stuff like that. Anyway, I did, however, discover something pretty interesting, which I'm glad I discovered as I was putting the fan shroud on and kind of like, pushing on the motor and stuff and trying to get that fan shroud seated down. And I noticed this. Hopefully you guys will be able to see this. Let's see. There we go. Can you see that? Yeah, you should be able to see that. Yeah, so I crawled under there, and luckily all it seems to be is that the two studs on the front transmission mount that go through the transmission nose cone they don't have any nuts or washers or anything on them. And they're a little bit kind of wallered out, probably from being driven like that with no nuts on them. But I'm thinking that if I put some nice heavy duty washers on them and tighten them down real good, that it's not really going to be an issue anymore. But yeah, that was kind of surprising. This car is kind of the gift that keeps giving, as far as, you know, the more I crawl around on it and stuff like that, the more I just find weird stuff like that with it. So yeah, I think that's an easy fix, but a huge deal, not needless to say. So yeah, anyway, pending any other, you know, weird stuff that I find like that, the motor should go back together the rest of the way pretty easy. And then I did get the correct brake reservoir for it with the bigger size posts on it, so that can go in. Got the correct brake push rod and little tab and all that stuff. So yeah, hopefully the brakes can go back together on this thing and we can get them bled and hopefully have brakes. That'll be another pretty big thing checking off the list on this car. So let's see, the only other thing I did today, which barely counts, is I got some front shocks for this car. I actually got front shocks twice, and so I got these from AJ over at what's the name of his shop? Low Bucket. And the first shocks I got were Impy, and I thought, okay, great, those are fine, Impy oil shocks. But apparently Impy sells these shocks, and they're just universal shocks. And if I can get one out, the tops of them are super weird. They just have this very short, stubby thread, which is nothing like the thread that goes on the top of a VW ball joint shock. And so I called AJ and I said, hey, what's the deal with these shocks? They just aren't even close to fitting. I thought, okay, maybe I need to reuse the original hardware, but not even close to fitting. Excuse me. So Impy sells some kind of like weird adapter to use these shocks. No thanks. So he ended up getting these shocks for me, and I don't know where these came from, but these are, I know they show link pin shocks on there, but we verified they are in fact ball joint. And yeah, they've got the correct tops in them, which on a ball joint car is the type that has the threaded stud in the top and then the kind of donut shape rubber bumper below and above the shock tower and some big metal washers and stuff like that. So yeah, these are right. These kind of weird because Impy sells these for ball joint cars, but then you have to buy the adapter kit separately, which to me is just kind of annoying. Like if you're going to sell these for a ball joint car, just, you know, raise the price or whatever a little bit and make it a complete kit. Because I can't believe I'm the first guy who went to put these on and found this weird end on them that is completely incompatible with the car without having their annoying adapter kit. So Impy, come on guys, do better. Anyway, sorry, I'm like ragging on Impy a lot on this one. They do have a lot of great products and their customer service is good and stuff like that, but sometimes I have to kind of scratch my head about some of the things they do. Like the tin on that thing having the hole for the throttle cable completely misaligned with the holes in their fan shroud that is the compatible fan shroud for, anyway. Oh, I actually did a few things on this one today too. Small things, but I went ahead and put in the rear seat stoppers, so you can see one there and there, and I put in the little hook for, yeah, there it is. Put in the little hook for the back seat there for the little rubber doodad, and I put the little rubber doodad, for lack of a better word, on the seat. So here's that thing. That's the one that you kind of stretch over the little hook, and that keeps the seat from flopping forward if you brake hard or whatever. And then yeah, I gotta have my upholstery guy reupholster excuse me, the carpeted back of the back seat, and then this can go in. And geez, that's like one of the last major things of this car. And the radio should show up any day now, or the radio faceplate, and wrap this puppy up. All right, guys. Well, I believe that is it today. So as always, thank you guys for watching, and we will see you again tomorrow. Bye.